I think we look really cute in our matching outfits.
No doubt. Day two. Day two.
Indeed. The day of reckoning.
Oof. I don't know, man. I was feeling a little worried about her doing 30 people for tomorrow night.
Yeah, I just kept on pushing. She didn't seem uncomfortable enough at 20, nor at 25. And then I finally saw that flicker of discomfort on her face at 30, so that became the number. Just like taking somebody to the gym.
Well, I think it's like you're taking her to the gym and making her do like a 300-pound bench press. I'm taking her to the gym trying to be like, oh, let's do a few jumping jacks.
It's going to say a lot when we determine what she did last night to see exactly what type of thinking she's done, how much she's read, how seriously is she taking it. Will speak volumes, I think, as to how difficult or easy this is going to be.
Look who's here.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How's it going? Good to see you.
Nice to see you. You got the book?
Hey.
Got the laptop?
Yeah,
got the tea?
Wow, you're all ready to go today.
All right. So how far did you get in this, and any particular ideas that came to mind?
Yeah, I got to, let's see, the law of, what is it? The law of focus. Yeah. It was good. It was saying something about you want to be the first in a market, or you want to be the first in
Your category.
a category, right?
How are you feeling about Wednesday?
I'm a little nervous because I don't know, because I mean, it's just so last minute. Yeah.
Do you feel like it's achievable?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Think so or no so?
I think so. Okay. Once it happens, I'll know so.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine.
So we went through a lot. I mean, if you actually look through everything we did on Monday, it was a fair amount. I mean, like, have you had any mind shifts or thought differently about like how you're approaching yourself or how you're approaching your business?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is definitely a new approach for me to planning something. It's totally last minute, and it's definitely making me, I guess, think a little quicker, like what can I do to do shortcuts to make something happen, instead of taking time to do it.
So, I mean, we've kind of come up with the idea, right? We have a vague idea of like, all right, something disco, something yoga, party at night. I think one of the key things that most people miss when they're starting a business is that they're like, well, I need to go get the studio, I need to open my own studio, I need to go do a lot of marketing, I need to go spend a lot of money. And I think one of the things that we really want to encourage you is, how do you not spend a lot of money? You honestly, you only have less than 48 hours, so we've limited your time on it.
Yeah.
And so validation is like now with the little amount of time and money you have, no money, how do you actually make this a reality? So that's what we're going to be spending time today, going through what's worked in the past, what's going to be working for this, and then you actually going out and making it happen.
Today we're going to follow Noah's check boxes, go through a number of exercises, figure out what's worked, what hasn't, and do an 80-20 analysis, among other things, so that we can eliminate as much as possible, right?
Right.
Because the beauty of a short time frame is you don't have the luxury of wasting time. So you have to create a really good not-to-do list.
Okay.
Right? And
some of the key things as well as, you know, Tim's saying is like there's no bad failure in this point. So let's say, you know, we've kind of started coming to the point where we're excited and you're excited, which is dancing and yoga, and connecting that with bringing your community together, which I'm excited to go to.
Yeah.
But the point is let's say you work your ass off today, tomorrow, and no one shows.
Yeah.
Right? That's a great thing. That's a great thing, which most people then say, all right, I'm going to give up, like we've done in the past twice.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, all right, well, what can I learn from this experience with the marketing or with the actual product I'm offering to see what can I tweak then to get people to want to come.
Right.
And I just really want you to have that mindset.
Yeah,
Okay.
and furthermore, if you don't have some system for keeping track of things, just like managing your personal finances, if you don't know where money is going, if you don't know where your effort is going when you're trying to find people and keeping track of that, it's hard for you to learn if something fails. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
You can't be like, oh, that's interesting. All the people that I contacted via Facebook this way came. None of the people I contacted via Facebook this other way came. And this. Therefore, when I tried again, and guess what? You're gonna have more opportunities to do things. Then you can actually focus on what has worked, right?
Okay.
So keeping track of stuff is very, very important. So let's jump into it.
Yeah. So the main thing in terms of the checklist that Tim and I discussed and that we really want you to aim for is what's your objective? Do you have pen and paper or notes? Because
Yes.
it's more important if you write it down. Like it doesn't help us.
Yes, I do have a pen and paper. Okay, let me get my notebook out here.
So basically the outline of the things we're going to go through is what's your objective?
Right. Okay.
What can we learn from past? So we're going to go through each of these sections.
Okay.
We're gonna practice. So we're gonna have you practice start other businesses just to get your brain going and just to see other ways of thinking about things.
Practice start.
Don't panic yet. We'll explain.
You're gonna start a restaurant today as well. Yeah, and we'll do one other company. So practice.
Wow.
It'll be good. And then present. So what do we based on what your objective? Not like we're gonna give you presents, but the present moment.
Oh, present.
So presently,
okay.
who is your customer?
We do have some truffles for you as well.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my God. This is cool. I like this.
And then so in the present, it's who's your customer and where are they? And then as Tim said, it's exactly that. Let's not try to we'll list out all the options and then help you prioritize based on quantitatively which marketing option should I then do to try to get these people. And lastly, you need to get a venue. That's going to be very important for you. So let's just jump right into the objective. Because I know there's a big thing about pricing that Tim and I
Definitely.
wanted to
Yeah,
right.
So what is your objective for Wednesday? We kind of mentioned it to you, but I want to make sure that you're on the same page.
Objective is to find 30 people, or get 30 people to come to my yoga disco dance party in San Francisco.
Exactly correct. And what we've been discussing, we talked about very briefly was pricing yesterday. So getting them to pay, right?
Yeah.
I see your face change immediately as soon as I say that.
Well, what did you feel when he said pricing?
Yeah.
So.
Did you get nervous there, or did you start worrying about that no one will pay? Like, what happened at that moment?
Yeah, I got a little nervous, like if people would pay or not, because I feel like that's something that's come up for me in the past.
So let's do one thing right away, and I think this is a good habit to get into, and that is compartmentalizing the issues you have to address, right? Or the problems you have to solve. So don't worry about the venue and the pricing of the tickets at the same time. Does that make sense? You have to fix them separately, so let's address them separately.
Okay.
It's very easy to get overwhelmed if you're like, oh my God, but like what if I can't make money, right? Or like, what if I can't afford it? But that's actually several problems in one. It's too big to fix by itself, right? So for the customer specifically, what would be a good stretch goal for you? Because a lot of this is just getting you more comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Being out of your element a little bit. So we're already pushing on the number of people, right? We're trying to get more people together than you've had together in one place before.
Right.
From a pricing standpoint, what would be challenging for you? And it doesn't have to be impossible, but it does need to be challenging.
I guess figuring out the right price that I should be charging. I think that's where I struggle with. Like, how do I set a price?
Yeah.
And something that seems reasonable for other people.
So one thing is, I try to give you an easy way out this morning. I was like, oh, Tim, let's be nice to Cindy. Let's let it be free. Right, let's let it be free.
Yep.
And then Tim brought up a really great point about if we try to make it free.
Yeah, I've held events before with hundreds or 1,000+ people, and very often that's for readers, let's say in different cities, meetups, things like that. And I noticed something really interesting that was very much an epiphany for me. When I did free events, I would have people RSVP, and then less than half would show up. Okay. So I'm like, you RSVP'd. What the hell, guys? You know?
Isn't that something that happened at your event?
Because
Yeah, exactly.
Because I am. So don't take it personally, in other words, because it happens to all sorts of people, including me. And these are people who like RSVP'd and should have showed up.
Yeah.
So then I'm budgeting for the drinks and for the this and for the venue and that, and I'm like, oh my God, now I'm in a really bad position.
Right.
Okay. As soon as I started charging like $1, $5 to hold a spot, attendance almost 100%.
Right.
And I think there are two possible explanations, and maybe both are true. First is that if they pay, they're more inclined to come because they don't want to lose money.
Right.
The second is the cheapskates and the bluffers who would usually RSVP for something free don't even bother RSVPing, so you just get the good people.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I feel very strongly that it should be a paid event.
Yeah.
Also because we haven't figured out the venue, right? So like let's just assume it's paid. based on what you've charged in the past, what is at least the same, if not more? Like, what's the most you've charged someone for a group class in the past?
$10.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yoga studios will charge $18 for a drop-in to a yoga studio. That's like typical, right?
So $10 per head is the most that you've charged or received? Because those are two very different things, right? So
Charged.
Okay, so you've charged 10.
Yeah.
You said something about yoga studios and 18.
Yeah.
What is that?
What do you mean? What is that?
You said $18 yoga studios.
Oh, it's yoga studios. They charge $18 per drop-in.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's just for a regular yoga class.
Right, and then of course you get like a certain percentage of that.
Yeah. All right.
But say if I've done my own thing with friends who showed up at the parks, then it's like, okay, $10 drop-in. People have given me cash, $10.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But there's been times I charge free, like it's more like, hey, just come hang out.
Right. Of course. Okay. All right. No, let's jump to what you were going to say.
So the two things I really want you to recognize is that when I've paid for something, and I think that's true for almost every single person, when you pay for it, you value it more.
Yeah.
Right.
So the people who actually are like, I'm taking this seriously, in addition to Tim was saying, it's like, when I'm paying $5, $10, $20, what we found with my business at AppSumo, the more we've charged, the more people actually like it.
Yeah.
The more they actually have a better experience.
Not only that, but this may seem really counterintuitive, but what a lot of entrepreneurs will do is they'll say, I want to sell this tea. I think it's really good tea. Let me look at what other people are doing. Let me look at my cost of the tea. And then maybe I'll multiply that by 2, and that's my price that I charge.
Okay.
Okay? What I do instead is I say, all right, my starting point is I figured out this tea. Here are my income goals. Here is what this is the number of customers I would like to deal with. So maybe dealing with 1,000 is too much of a headache. I don't want to deal with 100. So that means they need to spend, say, $10. Okay.
Right.
I mean, well, let's look. This is actually the perfect place to talk about this. Okay. You go to a hotel. You get like tea or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily great tea. It's whatever, a cent to make it, and they give it away for free. Right. I gladly pay for this, and I come here all the time. How much is this, do you think, roughly?
12, 13 bucks.
12, 13 bucks.
$12 for water?
Yeah.
It's water with some leaves.
I know. So,
It's a
so no,
specialty.
but check it out. So Noah has a moment. He has a bit of not a panic attack, but he's indignant. He's righteously indignant about this tea. On the other hand, I love it. I come here every day and have this. Right? Your yoga should be more like this.
It's also finding the right customer. So someone like
exactly. So what I was going to say is, I'll be like, all right, this is my starting point. This is my income goal, my time goal. That means I have to charge, say, $12 a person for each pot of tea. How do I make it so good that they will pay that much?
Right.
You figure out the goal, and then you're like, all right, what do I add in terms of value-wise so that it's good enough? Not the other way around. Does that make sense? Like you figure out the goal, break it down, figure out like the amount that each person has to spend for you to be able to get what you want, and then you continue to add value until it hits that mark.
Okay.
All right? This is something engineers do all the time, right? They'll make something, and they're technically brilliant. They'll make it, and then they'll be like, all right, I have to go out and sell this now. And they'll put all this time into it, and then maybe they put hundreds of thousands of dollars into a website and prototyping all this stuff, and then lo and behold,
Yeah.
no one wants it.
Yeah.
I mean, the big thing Tim's saying, and just for you to really emphasize, is pre-selling before you even need to make something. It's like, how do I find the right people, provide them the right product? So finding someone like Tim, who's very comfortable paying $12, or for your yoga studio, who's for $20, would be like, oh, a disco, one, I get to meet people, 2, it's disco, 3, it's healthy, $20 is a no-brainer. Before you even need to find a venue or spend any money, you go make sure people are actually wanting it. And one thing I just want you to remember is that you can always, and one of the things that I think we noticed yesterday is it's hard to sell, and it's hard to ask sometimes. And so one thing I've done is that if I go and I have an event, I say, hey, it's $20 for the event. And for some people, they're like, hey, price is an option. Or, well, what price is reasonable to you?
Yeah.
And then let them play, in the beginning at least, let them find out where a price that people are willing to pay is. Or if that's actually their issue.
Okay.
The other thing is you can always change your price. I think that's one thing that people start getting really consumed with is like, I need to maximize and low. You can always change it. So don't ever feel like I'm locked into 20 or I'm locked into 50 or 5.
You just need a starting point, right?
Yeah.
And so I would say for the time being, let's just make 10.
Okay.
Your goal, okay?
Okay.
Just so there aren't question marks in every box for all these unknowns, let's just for the time being use $10 as a placeholder, okay? Because that's the most that you've charged in a group setting before, right?
Right.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Second thing, I just want to challenge you and put another limitation in place. I think this is one of the things that most people neglect, is that they give themselves so much time to study and read and prepare that they never actually take that action and fail or succeed and then learn and iterate.
Yep.
I want the venue to be free. I want you to find a free venue, right? And that'll actually increase your creativity. It might be at a church, a synagogue, an office, right? It could be at a company office. It could be at someone's, I don't know, basement. You need a big basement. But I really want you to stretch yourself and figure out, don't worry about paying for a venue.
Yeah.
Use the relationships you already have in the yoga studios you've been at the companies you worked at the friends you have, to find the free venue.
Yeah.
So let's go backwards to go forwards and spend a little time understanding, like, what have classes you've done in the past?
Yeah,
definitely. What worked well? How did you? So two things: what classes worked really well, and then what are the best ways that you've been able to get people to come to your classes?
And just to address the look that I see, whenever we talk about pricing,
I'm thinking.
No, you're fine. I'm 100% confident that you can do this.
Okay.
I've seen it so many times. Noah has as well. All right. So that having been said, let's jump into what's worked in the past and what hasn't.
Yes. So we figured out your objective: $10 a head, free venue, 30 people. That's $300. It's your highest paying class and your largest class ever. So what kind of stuff in the past, class-wise, has worked really well? We talked about some of the disco stuff. I'm looking for the attributes so that you can create the product that you know will work for today.
When I create a theme around it,
Okay.
you know, the disco, the yoga, the disco, the 70s music. One time I had live music.
Yep.
Like, it was something different. I had a guy show up with a Native American flute, bowls, things like that. I noticed when I started doing my workout Wednesdays, I was like, hey, that term kind of like stuck for people.
Walk us through the process of how you got those people to come to the event. How did you know them? How did you contact them? Etc.
So the classes that were themed, I just texted some friends and I posted it on Facebook.
All right, so texted, that's it? Man.
Texted, you know, put on Facebook, and that created a response, like, oh, cool. And then people would share with their friends that might be interested.
How many people attended the class, roughly?
15 people.
15, okay. And how many people do you think you texted? How many?
5, 6 people.
Okay. How many Facebook friends do you have?
Currently, at this moment, close to 900.
Okay.
Oh, over 800.
And then how many brought in other friends? How many people did you not know in that class?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. There was a few people in there I did not know.
Okay, so texted, referrals, Facebook.
Oh, cool, thank you. Oh. Yummy. Thank you.
Bad for the camera guys.
What was that?
That's bad for the camera guys. Well, and so I think that's a really key thing that you need to be doing, is that as people are coming to your classes, like, that's a really big decision. Why did they do it? So remember yesterday at class, we talked to your customers, well, your friends, and none of them have come to your class in a long time.
Right.
And so really understanding the motivation. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think a very useful question. This is definitely worth writing down. And again, this is thinking not just about this week, but about this year and next year and so on for you. Is for every person who comes to your class, would you recommend this class to a friend? Why or why not? You know, if I could, what should I improve, add, or remove? Right? I think that is one of the true measures of how much fit you have between the people who are attending and what you're offering, right?
Right.
And that will get you as much information, valuable information, as asking
Why did
20,
you
30.
come? Yeah.
Would you recommend it to a friend? So usually you'll get, because if you ask them, would you recommend this to a friend, why or why not? You'll find out if they weren't happy, and that will naturally lead to, what did you expect? Why did you come here? And what did you get? Some people are just not gonna like anything.
Right.
Like, for instance, like, maybe Noah's a coffee guy. Like, maybe he'll never like tea. I'm a tea guy. So it's like, I will gladly pay $12 for really good tea. Right? And
Yeah.
There are cases where it's like the person just went to the wrong class, right? It's not
True.
your fault.
True.
But you do need the feedback. Okay?
Right.
So failure is feedback is just kind of the pairing, the phrase that I use. Like failure is not the end of the world. If you don't get feedback, that is kind of the end of the world because you can never improve.
True.
All right.
True.
So
let's come back to.
Yeah.
All right. So you have. And this is the thing, you have limited time, you're going to go try it out, we'll figure
Right.
something, what's working, what's not, and then we'll take that feedback and improve, so for the future you'll have whatever improve so you can make it work. So one thing I want to do, is there anything else touching base on like what things have worked in the past you want to share?
I have a question also. And it's just the opposite. What have you wasted the most time on?
Well, within myself, I feel like I wasted a lot of time just overthinking things. Like, why, how can I do this?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't like figuring things out.
Yeah.
You know? I don't like figuring out the hard stuff because I don't know where to begin. So it's like I waste time just overthinking it, and I don't go anywhere. And I start reading books and I go online, but there's no action because I don't have a plan of where to start. So it's like I waste a lot of time.
I think one of the things I'm noticing with people as they're starting the business is the best way to keep going and not have the self-doubt is to taste a little bit of success.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just to start having little wins that you can then start building up from.
Right. There's times when it turned out to be really well, and that totally excited me.
Like what?
You know, like when people would show up, or like I felt good in the class. People said they had a fun time.
Yeah. What are the least successful classes that you've run?
I guess I shouldn't say they're all least successful. I mean, even if just one person shows up, I mean, I'm pretty happy one person shows up. You know.
Have you tried any particular ways to get customers or to find attendees, clients that have not worked?
I mean, I feel like my only way, especially when in a yoga studio, it's like I've just been posting on Facebook, hey, I'm teaching at the studio.
Got it. Okay.
And of course, no one shows up. I mean, it's like,
Of course? What do you mean?
okay, no one showed up.
How often does that happen?
Pretty often. Hey, I'm teaching in a studio. Anyone wants to come?
Yeah.
Do you ever do it more actively? I think that's a really great question, just to reemphasize for you to note for the future. It's like, what hasn't worked?
Yeah.
Because in the 80-20 rule, it's like, let's spend time on what's working.
No, exactly, because we're trying to find the things. You don't have the luxury of time right now, right? Which is a good thing. I think it's a great thing. It's like the magic of the imminent deadline, right?
Yeah.
Like you really need to make this happen. So we need to figure out the things that we shouldn't do, right? So,
Okay.
and it's, yeah, go for it.
Just quickly, have you actively, because like what you've done, like what's a common mistake is that we do passive communication. Can anyone come to my class? Okay, no one came, fine. I didn't put myself out there.
Yeah.
Instead of the opposite of say, hey Tim, what are you up to tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Let me call you. Let me message someone directly on Facebook.
Yeah.
Let me actually see someone in person and approach them with a question of an ask, which is what you did with the coffee challenge, which is what you did with backflip, which if you don't want to be, if you're not a boring ass yoga teacher, you can also go and tell people like, hey, I have a really awesome class. You really should be there.
You need to ask for the sale, right?
So yeah, that's a scary part.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
people get afraid of sales because they think they have to be, Alec Baldwin and Gary Glenn Ross, which is amazing. But you don't have to browbeat. You don't have to browbeat people into doing it. It could be as easy as, please come, as opposed to, I'm doing this class at 9 p.m. on Wednesday! Link, which is descriptive. It could be as easy as just asking them to come.
Right.
I think a lot of that comes back to confidence in yourself, where if you really believe your class is going to be amazing, you should want to have people there. Like, hey, if you're not coming, you really need to be there.
Yeah.
Like, and Tim has his book, or, I have my own products. I want people to use it because I know it's a good thing. And if you come in with that approach, that excitement that you have, like, actually, this is kind of a quick exercise. Let's say, why don't you see if Tim will come to your class? Like, how would you approach Tim to come to your class?
We could be texting, or you could be in person.
Texting. It's like, hey Tim, there's a really great class I'm hosting tomorrow night. I would love for you if you can make it.
Sounds super cool. God, I've just got so much going on.
Busy on Snapchat.
I'll let you know if I can do it.
Right? One way maybe to reverse it is to work backwards from Tim.
Okay.
So why don't you see what's in Tim's interest? Like, hey Tim, what are you up to tomorrow night?
My response is, not sure. I haven't figured it out yet. What's going on? Okay, what's next?
since you don't have any solid plans tomorrow, I'm hosting my very first yoga disco party class that I think that you would enjoy, and it would be awesome if you could come.
I would not open with since you have nothing else going on, because it diminishes the value of the class. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And it's also obvious, you already said it, so you don't have to, that might get a visceral negative response, because also now I feel like you're applying too much pressure in a bad way, right? So I wouldn't open with, since you have nothing else going on, I would say, awesome, right? Like, you've just...
Stay positive.
Yeah, awesome. You just look at what I'm doing, it's slightly different. Awesome. I'm throwing my second...
Oh.
I'm throwing my second ever, yoga, disco yoga party. And the last one was a huge success, sell out or whatever. It would mean so much to me if you came.
Yeah.
And
then, can I count you in? Right? Or can you come?
Yeah.
You see how there's like a very clear ask? And it's not, and I think one of the things is you got to reduce your timidity. If you think it's a really great class, like, Tim, I'd love for you to be there.
Yeah.
One thing you may want to just, I like this, one thing maybe to consider is I only have so much room. You only have 30 people you're going to have. And so it's like, there's only 30 people. Like that, to me, would be like, oh man, there's not that many rooms.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't, and that's true, right? So you could very easily add in, if you said, awesome, I'm throwing my second disco yoga party. The first one was a sellout. We're gonna have around 30 people, or there's only space for 30 people, but it would mean a lot for me. It would mean a lot to me if you came. Can you make it?
I see.
Right?
So.
And it doesn't. The point also is like it doesn't have to be cheesy. It doesn't have to be lying. It shouldn't be lying. You're just taking the pitch and crafting it into something that's more effective. Right? Now, okay, so let's keep going. All right. So, can you make it? Right? Well.
I don't know.
Not really. Actually, no.
Make it hard.
I'm thinking naturally about myself. What I would say.
Yeah. What would you say?
I would say, cool, got a lot going on. I'll let you know. I'll totally let you know if I can make it.
No.
It's a polite no. It's a polite like brush off.
Right. It is. And you don't want to make the other person
awesome,
feel bad.
like sounds awesome. Just got a ton of stuff going on at work. I'll let you know if I can make it. What's your response?
Yeah, see, usually at this point, when someone says something like that, I'm usually like, oh, okay, well, just let me know if you can make it.
Most people are.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, if you have work to do.
Doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah.
This is a friend of yours, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think you can do that would be beneficial?
Beneficial for the attendant, for
your
me?
event?
What can be beneficial? What can be beneficial is, the experience of it being successful will continue to.
Well, no,
Let me give a real world example. All right.
Okay.
So what I would say, if this is important to you, I would say, as a friend, this is really important to me. Like, it would really mean a lot to me if you were there. Can you please come? You're taking the same thing, you're just making it a little bit stronger. So, all right. I'm gonna put Noah on the spot a little bit. So Noah's a busy guy. He has conference calls and things like that.
Yeah.
And I wanted his time for something, and it conflicted with one of the things that he had on the calendar already.
Okay.
What did I say?
You said it's really important to you.
I said exactly that. I was like, dude, I know your time is valuable.
Right.
I really appreciate this, and this. I'm asking you as a friend, can you please do this? Like I don't do that. I don't do it that often. This is important to me.
Yeah.
That was
And
it.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I think another thing that I've seen, one, if they're your friends, like a lot of people worry, oh, I don't want to bug my friends, and it's like, well, if it's something you actually believe in, you're not bugging them if you're a real friend.
Yeah.
Second thing that I found successful is that, say Tim's just busy and he doesn't want to do yoga, or he's maybe even out of the state. What I really think, and you should write this down, is, hey Tim, who can you introduce me to that likes yoga?
Yeah, definitely. And by the way, whether they agree or not. So if they say they're going to come to the class, but like fantastic, you know, same question, like
Yeah.
in terms of the referral, right?
Right.
But I'm not going to let this. I want to keep going with this script a little bit. Okay, it means so much to me. Da 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 da. So my next response is okay, LOL, because I have to use LOL in every text exchange. Okay. So okay, LOL, smiley emoticon. I'll be there. What are the details? Okay, so keep in mind, at this point, I'm thinking in my head, oh, it's another cool party. It's another free cool party that Cindy's throwing. We haven't brought up any price. What are the details? Like,
Okay.
Okay, cool. Where is it? What do I need to know?
Like, okay, well, it's going to be at this venue tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. It's going to be a disco-themed event.
Yep.
Some dancing involved. You're going to meet some people.
Yeah.
Yoga. And you'll be able to have some food, possibly. Am I going to have food?
I don't know.
It's your event.
Yeah.
Okay, no food.
Okay.
Good. That was good.
That was good. You don't want me to show up and then go, wait, this is a paid event?
Oh, yeah. So, okay. It's going to be at a venue here in San Francisco. It's going to have up to 30 people. Disco themed party with yoga and dancing. Get to meet awesome folks. It's going to be $10.
Okay. So, a big key here is that as you're giving answers, you want to avoid giving them the opportunity to come up with yet another excuse, right? So, in this case, and this is subtle, but I want you to pay attention to this. I'm kind of getting into this. I haven't done this in so long, I go over my emails the same way I go over blog posts. If I'm pitching something to, say, an editor at Wired Magazine, I'll go through like 20 revisions. Okay, so just think about the words though. In this particular case, you don't want to oversell. So you've already given them a bunch of information. They've said, yes, I'll be there. You don't want to give them too much because then it seems like you're somehow
Okay. Oh, what are okay.
underconfident about
Okay,
it, right? So
okay,
they've already
yeah.
agreed. Great. You know, we're looking at 2 or 3 awesome venues. That's TBD. It's this time. You know, put it in your calendar. $10.
Right.
Okay. And you could just say $10, which includes music, the yoga class, blah 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 blah, and awesomeness all around, or whatever, right? But you see there, why I just gave a reason for the $10, and in psychological studies that have been done, and there's in some behavioral psych, just giving a reason for a request is enough to increase the compliance, to increase the conversion rate. So you could be like, you know, I'm 43 years old. I really want a sandwich, or whatever. You know, could you please let me sit at the table with you because I just drank too much coffee. I mean, like, it literally, it doesn't even matter in some cases what the because is. It increases the conversion. So in this case, you'd say, right, awesome, looking at, if you haven't decided on the venue, you know, 2 or 3 cool venues, we're deciding on one, that's TBD, but like 9:30 Wednesday, $10, which includes music, like all the cool things.
I would definitely include either a PayPal or Eventbrite link.
Yeah.
So like, just pay it right now, just get it over with.
Yeah, and then you let them pay.
So either Eventbrite, because then you can have tickets, or just directly to PayPal. You don't even create a website. You don't even necessarily need to make a Facebook event. You can.
Yep.
Eventbrite's free.
Yeah.
PayPal's free. You just have to pay the fees.
Okay.
Yep.
You want to start from the top?
The script?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you understand why to do the script? Like why this is, because normally what you've
Yeah,
done is,
it's a
hey, do you want to do this?
practice.
No, okay, walk away.
Yeah.
which is what everyone does. But if you actually plan
Yeah.
and think about what will be effective, then you can actually make it work.
Let's go through the script one more time, and I'll see if I can remember. And if my answer's slightly different, that's okay. I mean, this is sort of, these are the principles in general. All right.
Okay. Hey Tim, what are you up to tomorrow night?
Haven't figured out what's going on.
Cool, awesome. Well, I'm throwing my second ever yoga disco party. The last one was super successful to sell out. It would be really awesome if you came. Do you want to come?
Not sure how late I'm gonna have to work, but I'll totally sounds awesome. I'll totally let you know if I can make it.
Tim.
Good.
Cindy. Tim ... Cindy ... Seth.
I'm asking you as a friend if you can come because this is really important for me. There's only space for 30 people.
And it'll be totally awesome.
It'll be so awesome. It'll be so awesome.
Would it really mean a lot to you?
It means a lot to me if you can make it. I'd love for you to be there.
And it's gonna be awesome.
And it's gonna be awesome.
All right. Has to be something new for me. Okay, LOL, smiley emoticon. I'll be there. Where is it?
Well, I'm still looking at venues right now. It's gonna hold up to 30 people, and we're gonna have some music. It's $10. It'll include.
Try that again.
Okay. Well, it's gonna be here in the city. I'm still looking at venues. It's $10. It includes yoga, disco music, and lots of fun.
Looking at 2 or 3 cool venues. I really think the specificity is important. So if it seems disorganized, I'll be like, wait a second.
Okay. It's gonna be here in San Francisco. I'm looking at 2 or 3 different venues right now. The exact location to be determined. It'll be $10, and it'll include yoga, disco music, and dancing, and lots of good vibes.
Cool. Just let me know the location, and I'll see you there.
All right, great.
Okay, goodbye. I'm not coming. I didn't pay.
Oh.
You didn't ask to register.
All right, great. So I'll get back to you, but here's the link for the event for tomorrow night. The Eventbrite link.
Okay. Cool. Gotta be super direct. Here's the link to the event. Can you register your spot now, or like please register? Please register now.
Here's a link to the event. Register now before your spot gets taken up.
Yeah, something like that.
I think what's really important is not necessarily to beat Tim and Noah, because we're a little more, I would say we're a little more direct and aggressive, but it's also just taking kind of this framework of saying like, all right, let me try to get my friends to come in your own voice.
Yeah.
And in a way that you communicate with your friends.
Exactly. So it could be like, awesome, here's the registration link, just for, for planning purposes, for my planning purposes, and also so we don't end up overbooked. It'd be awesome if you could click through and just register now.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, what do I have to do to get you in this car today? It doesn't have to be that. It can be very natural.
Okay. Yeah. No. It sounds good.
How does this compare to how you normally ask?
Seems easier.
Easier.
That's interesting. Okay.
I wasn't expecting that.
And having a script helps. Having a recipe that you can follow helps. And once you do it once or twice and you see it work, and it won't work all the time, but it'll work more than what you've been doing, now you have something that is replicable. You can keep doing it, right? This is an example of a system. Right? People think system, oh my God, it has to be something with flashing lights and gadgets and this, that, and the other thing, something really fancy. It has to be management consulting. No. This is a replicable business process.
Yeah.
Right? Cool.
I kind of want to go to practice.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So one of the things that I've just found helpful in starting a business is practice. Right? It's just like speaking a language. Like when you're trying to learn Tagalog in, 20 hours or something like that?
3.5 days.
Well, once you start practicing it, it becomes easier as a second language. So let's say tonight, let's say I challenge you tonight to start a restaurant. I love Mexican food. So let's say I wanted you to start a Mexican restaurant tonight. What would you do? And so this is basically what I want you to do is we're trying to teach you a framework and ways of thinking about things that are different than what most people do and what most people have been doing, so that as you go off next week and the weeks before, you're like, all right, I don't want to spend a lot of money. I don't want to spend a lot of time. How do I validate that I can really get people to come pay for what I'm offering?
Where do I start restaurant tonight?
Yeah.
Because I like an open pop-up location.
Keep going.
Pop-up location is available for me to borrow and use the kitchen. Maybe.
So you're gonna find a random pop-up restaurant. You're gonna find a restaurant.
Okay, maybe it doesn't have to be outside. Maybe it doesn't have to
going.
be. Okay, maybe it doesn't have to be inside.
Thanks.
Find someone.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
You know, get a friend that knows how to cook awesome Mexican food.
Which friend? Do you have a friend that cooks Mexican?
I know someone that knows how to cook really well. I'm pretty sure she can cook Mexican.
Okay.
I don't think it's that hard.
So you're the kitchen, now the chef, what else?
Come up with the food menu.
Okay. No, so far, okay.
Okay. All right, keep going.
And tell people.
And then,
All right, so how? How are you going to get people there?
Hey, what are you guys doing tonight?
Okay.
better.
We're getting
That was
somewhere.
good. That was good. You-
We're getting somewhere. All right.
Hey, what are you guys doing tonight?
I'm going to a yoga party.
Yeah, we're both going to a disco yoga party.
I'm having dinner with my parents tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, no, that's awesome. I'm actually throwing a pop-up Mexican restaurant tonight. It's my second one.
Well, your first one. Have you actually done it before?
No.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you gotta keep it real.
Yeah.
It's my first one ever. It would mean a lot to me if you came, and there's only space for 25 people.
Okay.
That's
this
a lot of
restaurant.
people.
Oh, that's fine. I'm gonna respond. It sounds totally awesome, but my parents are in town, and I'm already committed to having them over to my place for dinner. So sorry, frowny emoticon. Tell me next time.
Tim.
Oh, wow.
Cindy, ... Send.
This is very important to me. It would mean a lot if you and your parents could come.
All right, now we're making some progress. Okay.
So, can I highlight a few things that we can learn
Yeah.
from that?
Yeah.
All right. So,
I was waiting for the parent invite.
yeah,
by the
that
way.
was good. That was
Yeah.
really
Which
good.
is,
I
which is what
noticed.
the response should be. If you're contacting someone for the party, they're like, oh, I'm supposed to go out and have drinks with my friends.
Yeah.
Want to bring your friends.
Perfect. Bring your friends.
All right.
That F-bomb was for you, Vivian.
Let's go through a few other things. So, notice the order that you did things. What order did you do about starting that business?
Oh, like finding the location.
Go through you did 4 things.
Yeah, like looking at the details versus the goal.
And what was the goal?
The goal is to get 25 people.
Or is to have a pop-up dinner.
Pop-up dinner, Mexican restaurant.
And so this is the key thing with validation and actually ensuring that you're going to make money and have a successful business in any
Right.
capacity. And I will talk a little bit about how do you take that from active into a passive income so you don't have to do as much work.
Right.
But you basically found the venue, found the chef, made the menu, you learned Spanish, you
God.
you found a mariachi band, and then at the end of the day, you're like, well, shit, now I got to get customers. And that's what 99% of everyone does. Everyone.
That sounds hard.
That is. And what
It's
I really
hard.
want you to think about is reversing that
Okay.
equation. So what's the hardest part of the business? Getting people to pay.
Yep.
And so instead of, I want you to work backwards now. And the same thing with your yoga practices and your yoga classes. It's not instead of the lessons and all the kind of details of it, let me see if I can actually find people who will come eat at my restaurant. One of the key things that I've seen from successful entrepreneurs is 2 key attributes. One, attitude, and then secondly, resourcefulness. So what Tim said, and as well you did it, which was great, you're like, bring your parents.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, good, you're being resourceful.
Yeah.
And so I want you to really focus on, and what a lot of people will say, well, I don't want to sell something that I'm not sure is going to happen.
Right.
That's a very common thing. Well, I don't know when the restaurant is going to happen. I don't know when my
Right.
class. But think about how many things you pay for that don't happen right away.
Yeah.
Concerts,
Yeah.
they could get canceled. Flights, hotels, almost every experience you actually pay for ahead of time.
Yeah.
And so I really want you to get that into a mindset where if you're wanting to open a restaurant, you're saying, well, let me make sure I can find 5 people to come to my dinner. And set the expectation. they're your friends. Hey Tim, I'm thinking about opening a Mexican. You know, I love tacos.
Yeah.
I
Me
do.
too.
I love tacos and burritos.
People bribe him with burritos to get
and it
meetings.
works.
Oh my
I'm a
gosh.
sucker for it.
Yeah.
But I tell people, hey, I'm thinking about opening a Mexican restaurant. I'm just trying to see if I can get 5 people to chip in to pay for a meal, and I'll have it at my place.
Yeah.
Why do you need you want to get a kitchen? So basically, in terms of being resourceful, how do you reduce the barriers? Kind of like this venue equation.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you reduce these barriers to make sure you have something people want, right? And then reduce all the other things that are holding you back after you've gotten the money, which is the hardest part.
Yeah. You notice this is the same as what I was talking about earlier with the yoga. So instead of like, all right, I need another 4 years of teacher training, then I'm going to learn the anatomy of a giraffe because that might apply to yoga, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do that, then I'm going to charge what I want to charge. You figure out what you're going to charge, and then you figure out how to create the value that is sufficient for that, right? When you make the initial testing really fast, like this week, we have a lot of time, really cheap, find a free venue, right? The cost of failure is really, really small. Okay, so when you do all that front loading, like, okay, I've done this much teacher training. Teacher training is good, don't get me wrong, but it's like if you do like, all right, I've done another 2 years of research, I've spent thousands of dollars on all this different training and this, that, and the other thing. And now I'm going to go try to figure out how to make it work. You become allergic to failure because the cost is so high. Does that make sense? It doesn't have to be high.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
so
That makes sense.
let's try it one more
Okay.
time.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
we've done, and look, and one of the things, especially for the audience and you know, a lot of Tim's fans, is that a lot of people want passive income. I want to be able to travel, like right now, you know, at Sumo, it does make money even though when we're asleep or I'm not even in my office. You know, we have systems in place. But one of the things you have to recognize is that it's going to take a little bit of active work of
Definitely.
getting an email list of your people who want to follow you, which you've never done. I really want you to write that down. That's something we're going to explore more.
Okay.
But building a direct connection to your customers, doing a little active work in the beginning, and then, you know, Tim said in his book, it's one of the key things is how you systematize it so you're not always doing the same things over and over.
Yeah.
Or maybe you hire another teacher to teach your yoga classes so that you're not always teaching.
And so the automation, that's the automation piece, which comes in after you've tried a bunch of stuff, like this party, right? And then you have your email list or your contacts, right? You need a direct relationship with your customers and a way to communicate with them. Could be Facebook, could be other ways. We'll talk more about that.
Right. Okay.
And then when you try a bunch of stuff and you measure it, guess what you can do? You can figure out what you enjoy doing, what you're best at doing, the biggest waste of time. Those are hard for you to answer right now, right? Because you don't have the input.
And it's the same, and you know, in addition to keep going with that, it's that like, it's hard for you to get 30 people tonight.
Yeah.
But how many people have you taught yoga or done workouts with over the past year or 2 years? Hundreds? 5?
No, I feel like some of these people are the same people.
But
Okay.
total, you've helped over 100 people, right?
Pretty sure.
But you're actually starting over from the beginning today, which is kind of the unfortunate part. Instead of thinking, how do I build up these assets of things that I could then work with again, like the people that you've been helping.
Let's do another one.
So the other thing I was gonna say is,
Yep.
I want you to open your own tea place.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So how do you compete with Samovar?
Wait.
How would you compete with this rest where we're at now? Going through the exercise we just went through and what we talked about.
Well, I guess defining the goal.
Good. What's the outcome? I want you to have a 10-person tea party
Cool.
or a tea restaurant. I want you to open your tea restaurant. I would say the goal is to get 10 people to come have tea with you.
Okay. All right. The goal is to have 10 people have tea with me. Hey, what are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
All right. No.
Good. Let's
Okay.
say outside of Tim, what would you start? Outside of us two right here, what could you do?
Text friends, get on Facebook, actively message people. Have other friends ask their friends what they're doing tonight.
Okay.
What about the people maybe at Samovar that like tea?
True. Who here likes tea?
Okay. What are the details?
So the details are, I'm still looking at a few venues.
Or what about at your place?
Or okay, I have my place.
It's just take advantage of what you have available to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My place, 3 different types of teas. Tea tasting,
Okay.
10 people.
Okay.
$5.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah?
$5, 3 types of tea. I'm gonna give you a little bit of pushback. So I'm Noah.
Okay.
$5 for hot water? Really?
With leaves.
With leaves?
So this tea,
You should be able to do this. Yeah.
That's good.
this tea is small batch from a small farm, all organic, hand-picked, and it's seasonal. It's fresh. It's energizing.
Why does seasonal matter? I'm not gonna.
Okay. Seasonal matters.
I'm just bringing that up because that's a feature. You need to turn it into a benefit, right? So it's seasonal.
Well, seasonal is you get freshness from the tea, you get taste of full flavors versus having it, something that was harvested years ago.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
one thing to also
I just want to underscore one thing. This is the same as we only have space for 30 people. You're building in a scarcity. Okay, so like just as a principle, and again, you don't have to fake it. You don't have to lie about it. Like seasonality means like this is, let's say it's the first flush, right? And you explain what that is.
First
There's
flush.
only 4 weeks of the year or whatever where
I
we
only
can get
got
this stuff.
a certain amount from the farmer.
It's like, right, exactly. This stuff like ounce per ounce costs the same much as high-grade cocaine, whatever. Like you need to try this too, right?
Well, I think the thing that Tim's highlighting that's really essential is like, think about the benefits of the end person as the key thing. So for your yoga class, like I could go to any yoga class, but why would I go to yours? Or this tea thing, right? What I thought would actually be interesting for myself, I was selfishly being like, you're like, Noah, do you know shit about tea?
Right.
Wouldn't you love to have a tea date, take a girl out and have a tea date and actually be educated? Or maybe this tea will give you more energy, and I'll show you the teas that'll be the most energetic.
Right.
But really, as you're selling something, really thinking about the end result, not necessarily like, oh, it's green. Right? Or the whole selling point could be like, Noah, it's a singles event. I'm going to bring all my single people together and try really amazing tea, and so you'll meet great
That
connections.
sounds cool too.
That does sound cool. Hey, I'm actually like $5, I'd go.
But actually, I don't mind hosting something like that.
It could be tea and yoga.
A singles tea yoga party.
But the point being is, like, you see how we reversed it from like, hey, we're
No,
selling
this
tea.
is not a bad idea.
Yeah, actually, tea yoga.
The more specific you are, the easier it is to target. I just want to. We'll get to this, but
Too many ideas now.
no,
No, don't start with that.
no, you're fine. Hold. Okay.
Okay.
If everyone is your customer, no one is your customer. Okay? And that's not a fortune cookie. Let me explain it. If you're like, well, this is for men and women and gays and straights and chihuahuas and Great Danes, everybody will love this.
Nah.
How do you find everybody? How do you advertise to everybody? It's too expensive.
I think it's too
You're
hard.
going to try too many things. You're going to be very scattered and unfocused.
Yeah.
Which is why themed, very specific, right? If it's singles or whatever.
Exactly.
Now you're like, okay, now I know who to look for. Like, could you go onto Facebook and search
Female.
in Facebook, like single friends of, and then your friend's name, and it'll pull up a list? Absolutely.
Oh,
You could totally do that.
cool.
Not that I've ever done that or anything. And then, and then,
can try it.
and then you get a very good idea. Like, okay, if I just relied on my friends, like, how many single people are there out there in SF? Literally, single friends in SF of friend. Boom.
Lots.
You can start to figure out, these are my people. Whereas if it's like everybody will like this, you can't be like everybody on Facebook.
Yeah, no.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, no.
Hundreds of millions, billion plus people.
Yeah.
That's gonna be tough.
The analogy that's really helped me understand this kind of thing that we're getting at is that if you had a knee problem, or Tim's got every problem, so he's got to go to many.
How much
Oh
time
my
do we have?
God.
Yeah, but let's say you have a knee problem. Would you rather go to a doctor or a knee doctor?
Specialist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as you
Yeah.
guys, as you are doing your business, keep thinking about that. It's like, how do I appeal to a certain person?
Right.
All right, so we've done some practice. Do you start seeing what we're doing with the practice, like being specific, focusing on the results, focusing on the customer, and reducing any of the barriers. The venue is not the barrier. The barrier is, can I actually get people to come?
Yeah.
So you have less than 30 hours to get 30 people to give you $10 and find a venue.
That's good.
That's a fair amount of work.
I like it.
That's a fair amount of work. So we're basically going to break it down to two key things.
Okay.
I want to spend 2 minutes on who's the person that you want to reach out to. Who should be coming Wednesday night?
Okay.
And then what we're going to break out is what's called quant-based marketing. And we're going to break out all the different methods and how many people you think you'll get from each method, and then we'll prioritize them.
Okay.
Which means we'll list all the different options you can to get those people, once we find out who they are. Then we'll figure out where they are, prioritize it, and then you're going to go off to the races and get that done.
Okay. What kind of marketing is that called again?
Quant-based.
Oh.
Q-A-N-T.
So instead of hoping that people come or qualitatively like just putting out some Facebook posts, then what we'll do is, as Tim mentioned earlier, we'll come back and revisit and see which of those methods worked really well for you. So then the next time we do this, as you move forward in the future, you can focus on the really effective ones and then not waste time on the
Yeah, okay. Sounds great.
So who should be coming Wednesday night?
My friends.
Okay.
Friends for sure.
So just every friend?
Okay, so.
So do you see how this is like a doctor versus a knee doctor?
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
My
Tim doesn't really do
friends
yoga,
who are
right?
interested in yoga.
You have to be specific. Like, I want
My
you to be
friends who are
male or female.
both.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Like yoga.
It's all right.
But male and female who enjoy yoga, who love music, who love dancing.
Okay.
How old?
Mid-20s to upper 30s.
Okay.
And I was like, why am I just ready? Thank you.
Sorry, I'm thinking.
I'm like, oh, I got to do this.
Dictating for somebody.
Well, so is it a social thing? Is it for them? And the reason I'm asking that is that I just found it very helpful to have a very specific gender. Like the more narrow you can make it, like if you said, like think about it this way, you have 1,000 friends and you only have 24 hours, you can't go through every one.
Yeah.
And also if you're looking for referrals, I'm like, hey Tim, do you have any friends that like yoga that are between 20 and 40? Right? Or if I say, hey Tim, do you know any Asian guys who are 25 that love anime?
Right.
That makes it a lot easier for him to then process who he should be looking for, instead of any of your friends.
Right. So I think
Okay.
I think narrowing it down somehow. It doesn't mean it has to be a single gender, but let's say single versus not single, right?
So we can test it?
I think you should test it. That's exactly how you should. That's exactly how you should be thinking. So, women only or men only or whatever. How would I go about it? Right? You can ask yourself these questions, but I don't want to hold up the process.
No, I think
you can run through the role playing. Like, what if this? What if that? What would my steps be? Right?
Okay.
But the point I think is a very important one, which is like, right, if everyone's your customer, no one's your customer, you have to make this so focused enough that you have a rifle shot over the next 30 some odd hours, because you really don't have to know it. You have to be like a bloodhound on the trail. You have to know exactly who you're going after, or you're going to be just flailing around and doing all sorts of things that won't end up getting people to this event.
Okay.
So we talked about it in the beginning, and what I want you to do now is make a separate, draw a line through the page, and then list out all the different ways that you can get 30 people. And what I want you to do is list out the way that you can do it and how many people you think you'll sign up from that way. So specifically what I'm saying is if you think you can do telephone calls, which I think in-person telephone are very underutilized.
Yeah.
Because we basically send this email and like...
We're so used to texting now.
Yeah, and you hope that someone responds. But when you actually call or you see Tim in person, you can really understand it and you can get a better, quicker response. So I want you to list the way and then how many people you actually think you'll register. And what we're going to do, which is quant-based marketing, is you're going to say phone call 5, Facebook 10, and we'll make sure that we have 30 at the end of it.
Messaging. Status. Okay.
Now keep making line items. What else?
Just down the left side, so we'll add stuff on the right. So
Under Facebook or
no. Just down, like you're making bullet points on that page.
texting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep going.
Calling. Referrals.
Yeah.
Can't stop. Won't stop. Come on, Cindy.
Facebook, texting, calling, referrals. Asking people on the street.
Sure. Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. Okay. What about Craigslist?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Craigslist.
What about
Samovar.
Exactly. Yeah.
partnerships? So Samovar?
Yeah, exactly. Partnerships are really underutilized.
Could you flyer somewhere?
Oh gosh.
You only have 30 hours.
I know. I would have to print stuff and all that, design it.
Okay, that's some work. What about the yoga studios you've worked at? Could they promote it for you? Could they post on Facebook or Twitter or email their people?
I think so, yeah.
There's not a wrong one. What we're really trying to do is think of it as like a buffet. And at a buffet, you go and you try all the different dishes, and then you say, well, I really like this one dish, and you go back and get more of that.
Well, I'm also part of the peer-to-peer transportation group.
Write it down.
Yeah.
What else?
You could do ads, but you have very short notice.
Yeah.
And don't really want you to spend money.
Yeah.
But it's good to put it down. It's good.
On your, like, yeah, some of our partnerships, like, think, and again, we have a limited amount of time, but you just think of the groups that you can harness, and yeah, which is part of what you're doing here, to help you. And guess what the pitch is to the group? If you're friendly with somebody who's, let's say, one of the managers of the group, it's the same as the script that we did on the phone, right? It's very simple. Like, it's very important to me. It would mean a lot.
Yeah.
Can I please ask you X, right? Or there has to be a very concrete benefit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
Okay. What else?
So imagine you have like a gun to your head and you have to get 30 people.
Yeah.
Like, so think about it. Is there any other way possible? Like, if your life depended on it.
My family.
Perfect. Now we're talking. Aren't they all in San Francisco?
Yeah.
That's.
Okay. Who else?
And yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna add. Make sure you do not forget that, like, your family, all this stuff, like, referrals apply to all of these. You get right. So just remember that. Like, friends and family, right?
Okay. I think this is a good start.
Pick 5.
Yeah.
That you think would be most effective.
Okay. Well,
Perfect.
that one. Friends and family.
Okay. Good.
And it doesn't have to be guesswork too. I mean, this could be based on your experience.
Right
up to
now,
this
I'm
point.
really involved with this here.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
3 more.
If I'm talking to those people, then it's like,
Referrals will just be a part of everyone.
okay.
Yeah.
But what, I mean, you've said 2 that have always worked for you.
Yeah.
The Facebook and texting.
So far, the Facebook texting, and then the friends who refer their friends.
Okay, so
Okay.
Facebook texting, let's check off those 2.
Oops. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Is there one more that you want to try? A lot of times with marketing, I want to try ones that I know work and then maybe one experimental, just to see if it works or doesn't work for the future.
Yeah. Okay.
Have you called people normally for classes?
No.
I would challenge you to do that. I think it'll make you uncomfortable.
Yeah. Let's try calling. You have a script after all.
What was that?
boy.
Wow,
That was good.
That was
a
great
good look.
look.
That was a good look.
All right, so let's go to the next page. List out those 5, just in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
And so the idea here is that we try different ways out, and then we go back, you go back, not we, and we see what actually works. So how many do you think you get from each of these ways? And the whole point is that they have to add up to 30. Does that make sense why we do that in Sydney?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to get that exact idea
Yeah.
from each category. Okay.
It doesn't have to be exact. This is more to help
Yeah.
you like subjectively start quantifying, like, all right, subjective quantification. Figuring out what's going to actually work with marketing and getting your customers.
I feel like if I were to text or do Facebook calling, I feel like I would be contacting the same people.
Okay.
If you're doing that. Okay. Well, how many people do you think you get from each one of those?
Let me think.
The thing is, it's not to oversweat it. I don't want you to spend, take another 5 hours planning it. It's to say, all right, which ballpark am I going to get the most wins out of?
Okay. From the transportation peer-to-peer group I'm involved with, I'm thinking I could get, I don't know. It depends. I would say like 5.
Okay.
5 to 6 people.
Okay.
Put down 6.
Yeah, put down 6. And that leaves 9. What I would just put in here. Let me add one more thing here. Just because I see you making faces. It's kind of funny how, like, read your mind based on the faces you make.
I'm getting like nervous now.
No, I know.
Why are you getting nervous? What are you nervous about?
It's just the challenge of me actually doing it and talking to people, I guess.
Yeah.
And just, of course, the fear of someone saying no, or maybe it's just me being more open and direct, which I'm not really used to.
So just because I say make a face about Facebook, that's why I put, don't forget, or referral, 9+. Right?
Okay.
Every single one of these, if they're like yes or no, yes I'll come, no I can't, ask for a referral.
Okay.
And because you'll probably end up talking to some people who are entrepreneurs themselves or just clever themselves. Another question you can ask them is like, all right, cool. Thanks very much for whatever the conversation was, whether they said yes, no, or give you a referral or not. You know, if you're in my shoes and you wanted to, you know, pack this thing, this disco yoga party that everyone's talking about, what would you do? And then I'd be like, oh, I totally just do this. And you'd be like, oh, sweet. Like, would you mind sending them an email? Would you mind making an email intro? Would you mind da-da-da,
Okay.
right?
So what's the total so far? You have 39?
So
We made it add up to 30 exactly.
Well, or I guess plus that.
Right.
So you have 30.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do?